Hey everybody, my name is Brandon Scott and welcome to the inaugural episode of the Fandom Pastor. First of all, it is fandom, not phantom. And secondly, yes, I am a pastor. I serve at Radnor United Methodist Church in Radnor, Indiana, just outside Delphi, Indiana. Now, first of all, I want to explain what a fandom is. So, fandom is the fans of a particular person, team, fictional series, etc. This can be comic books and different types of movies, Harry Potter, different things like that. Anything that people love and maybe even obsess over. Don't worry, I will try to keep these videos somewhat short. Now let's kind of get into our first of our episodes. I want to start with musicals. I love musicals. I've seen lots of them. I've seen a couple on Broadway, and then I've seen a number of traveling troupes as well. So I love musicals. And I thought what we'd start with is kind of a series on musicals. The first one I want to start with is Les Misérables, or Les Mis. It's kind of an easy one to start with because it has a lot of wonderful themes. Now, personally, I have not seen this live. However, I did see the movie from '98 that included a lot of wonderful actors and actresses performing. Hugh Jackman is wonderful. If you've not seen it, please take a look. Again, it's got a lot of different themes that are just wonderful to really talk about from a biblical perspective. And it's possible that a number of these musicals I may even come back to because there's so many beautiful themes that come out of them. And so we may talk about Les Mis again. For me, the most important theme, the one that kind of stands out the most, is the idea of redemption. Jean Valjean, and I may be pronouncing names incorrectly. I'm not very good at that. But his story, his life, presents a beautiful picture of redemption and its results. When Jean moves from despair to hope, he follows through on his promise to become a new man. God wrote the book on redemption as well. Literally, the Bible tells how Jesus can make us new too. Now, as the story begins, Jean's despair at his future life is pretty obvious. I mean, he's been a convict for years and years. He's only been a number. He's never had a name for all of those years. And especially at that time, he had, no hope. No hope. People would look at anybody who was a convict as always bad, always wrong, always corrupt. And so he had no hope for fulfillment or really true freedom. What's interesting is one of the first people he meets is a bishop. Now, this bishop provides Jean with a meal, which Jean repays by, stealing the bishop's silver. Jean is arrested shortly thereafter, and when he's brought back to the bishop could easily have said, yes, he's a thief, this is all mine, throw him back into jail, he deserves it. And instead, what does the bishop say? If you've seen the musical, he says, oh, well, I gave it to him as a gift. This is to help him on his way. It was merely a gift. He isn't a thief. Now, when the bishop sends him away with his bag of silver, he claims that the silver is a ransom for Jean's soul. He's giving Jean back to God, and this act of redemption gives Jean new hope and changes the course of his life. And I actually linked that scene below this video, so if you want to watch it, it's from the movie, but it's a really neat scene, and I think it's just wonderful. Now, God does this very same thing for us. This act of redemption. He gives it to us time and time again. We are redeemed by God through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Ephesians 1:7 says, in him, Jesus, we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins, in accordance with the riches of God's grace. John is a great example of how this redemption should change us, and change us for the good. The song he sings, again, I linked it below. It's performed by Hugh Jackman from the movie. A beautiful song. But this song is called What Have I Done? And the song ends with the words, Jean Valjean is nothing now. Another story must begin. He's saying here that his old life, the old Jean, is gone. The sad, bad life is over and a new life begins. God's redemptive love creates a new life in us too. All we have to do is ask. Isn't that amazing to think about that? That our redemption is given over and over again. At no time does God say, you don't get another chance. Instead of silver, though, like the bishop, God gave his son, Jesus Christ, worth more than silver, of course. And so it's just this beautiful story of how it all works out and how it all connects. By doing this fandom series, I want everybody to understand that God is giving a message in everything. Good or bad, God gives us a message through anything. Now, I'm going to plan on doing these every couple weeks. And so I ask that you join me in a couple weeks as we continue the Broadway study. Now, each time I'm going to kind of give you a clue as to what the next musical or next subject we'll be discussing is. So, join me in a couple weeks as we get a scoop at all the modes. Thanks, and God bless.